You are watching the town you grew up in turn into a place you cannot afford to live. Or you just moved here and everybody acts like you personally broke it. Either way, you're fed up. And you already know who everyone blames for a $500,000 house: the Californians, the Newcomers, and the influx. I sell real estate in Idaho. I make money when people move here. So I am the last person you would expect to say this. The people you are blaming are not the reason this started. The real story is something I call the cost stack. And I can prove it in one number. I pull these numbers every week. In 2014, the median house in Ada County sold for a little over $200,000. Today, it is right around $545,000. That is more than double in about a decade. Now, we're going to look at the timeline. That climb started in 2014. That is years before the pandemic. Also, years before the big migration wave that everybody is pointing at. Over that stretch, Idaho led the entire country in home price growth. So if one moving truck from out of state caused all of this, well, why did the price already double before most of those trucks ever showed up? And here's what else people have wrong. A lot of people think prices are still skyrocketing today. They are not. As of this spring, Ada County prices are not climbing anymore. If anything, they have cooled a little bit from a year ago. Now, that climb was not one crazy year. The climb was 10 quiet years that nobody added up. So let that land for a minute. This was never just about who moved here. It is about what it costs, and that is the proof. Now, I'm going to show you the things that actually stacked up to do it. We're going to look at what it costs to build, what it costs just to live here, and who is really buying. But first, I have to say something to both of you, because even after seeing that timeline, something still does not sit right, and that is very understandable. Here's what I want the newcomers to hear. The frustration you are reading in those comments, most of it is not actually about you. It is about grief. There are people in this valley who have watched the town they grew up in turn into a place their own kids cannot afford to live. And that is a true, real loss. And when people lose something, they're going to look for somebody or something to blame. And usually that somebody is the new face on the street. Now, here is what I want the locals to hear. And I'm going to be honest with you because you can handle it. A lot of the people moving here are coming from Washington, Oregon, and California. And yes, a small slice of the people buying here from anywhere are just doing it to scoop up a cheap house, rent it out, and cash in. That part is real, and it does sting. We will come back to them because that part does deserve a straight answer. But the majority of the families showing up here are not investors. They are not trying to ruin anything. They are chasing the exact same thing your grandparents came here for. A little more freedom, a little more space, a better way of life. They saw the same mountains and rivers you love and thought, I want that for my family too. And that is not a threat to what you love. That is the most Idaho thing there is. People coming here for a better life, just like the generations before them. So let's stop pointing fingers at each other and let's go add up what actually did this. Let's start with your paycheck. Now, you already know prices more than doubled. So here is the question nobody asks. Did your paycheck double as well? Well, here is the whole problem in two numbers. Since the year 2000, the typical paycheck in this country just about doubled. Over those exact same years, the price of a house went up 2.5 times. Same country, same years, two completely different speeds. And this is not just a Boise problem. For decades, a healthy market meant a house cost about 3 to 4 times what a family earns. Today, nationally, it is running closer to 5.5, well past anything anyone would call affordable. So your paycheck grew like a normal paycheck, your house grew like a rocket. Boise didn't invent this disease. We just caught a really bad case of it. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of hard numbers at you, so let me hand you something useful right now. Wherever you are looking here in Ada County, over in Canyon County, where the typical home still runs about $100,000 less, or from 3 states away, the worst thing you can do right now is guess. So my team and I built you a free Treasure Valley relocation audit. It walks you through the real all-in cost of making this move line by line. The taxes, the insurance, the carrying cost, all the stuff this video just showed you hiding in the numbers. Born here or brand new, it works the same. So go grab it. It's in the description. No fluff. Now, heads up, the next part is where I show you what actually stacked up to do all of this. And it starts with a family in my own backyard who kept getting beaten to the punch. Let me tell you about a local family I am working with right now. They had lost 3 bidding wars in a row, not to other families, to an all-cash fund. Now, stay with me because this story does have a good ending. But the night that third offer fell through, I sat down with them and took the whole cost stack apart, piece by piece, not to scare anybody, but to find the way through it. And here's what I found. Every single thing that goes into a house got more expensive at the same time. You start with the stuff. We're talking the lumber, the steel, the concrete, the wiring. The cost of building materials is up about 40% since 2020. 40%? And you wonder why? Well, a pandemic that shut down factories, a war overseas that scrambled global shipping and sent fuel prices through the roof, and tariffs, taxes on the imported lumber and steel and concrete coming across the border. None of that started in Boise, but all of it ends up in the price of a Boise house. Then add the people to swing the hammers. There are not enough of them. Nearly every contractor in the country says they cannot fill their open jobs. Fewer hands means slower builds and higher wages baked right into the price. Then add the land. Stack all of that up, materials, labor, land, and that is half the cost stack. That is why the builder cannot just sell you a starter home for what it cost in 2014. The stack will not let them. Okay, now the other half of the stack, the money. Mortgage rates nationally are parked in the mid-6s, right around 6.5%. And they have actually ticked up lately. Now, here is why that number hits so hard. Think about the people who locked in at 2 or 3% back in 2020 and 2021. The exact same house at today's rate costs dramatically more every single month. However, you still have the same walls, the same roof, but a wildly different payment. And here is the twist that is quietly strangling this whole market. More than 8 out of 10 homeowners with a mortgage are sitting on a rate under 6%. A lot of them way under. So the sellers I would normally have listing their starter homes right now, the ones ready to trade up, they tell me the same thing every time. Why would we give up our 3% rate? So they stay put. And that starter home never hits the market for the next young buyer. The low rates of a few years ago are literally holding today's homes hostage. And here's what nobody in my industry will tell you. The mortgage is not even the whole bill anymore. I have watched buyers qualify for the loan on paper and then walk away the second I show them the full monthly cost with everything stacked on top. Property taxes, homeowners insurance, which has gotten brutal with prices jumping and some companies walking away from entire neighborhoods. And then there is everything else, all the stuff that has nothing to do with the mortgage but eats the same paycheck. Start with something small. Your morning coffee. Back in 2000, a pound of ground coffee ran you about $3. When I pulled this, it was over $9 for a pound of coffee. Then your power bill. Electricity rates jumped more than 10% in the last year. And part of that is surging demand on the grid, including all the new data centers coming online to run AI. Now let's look at childcare, which can rival a mortgage payment all by itself. Then add your car, the price, the loan, the insurance, all of it is pretty brutal. Pile student loans and credit cards on top, and that debt is often the exact thing that disqualifies a perfectly good buyer. So when people say they are priced out, they're not exaggerating. Roughly 2/3 of American households cannot afford a median priced new home right now. And this used to be a lower income problem. It's not anymore. It has climbed the ladder straight into the middle class. Now, here is the piece that ties it all together. When it costs this much to build, fewer houses get built. And we were already not building enough. The city of Boise did its own study. It said this valley needs almost 2,800 new homes every single year for a decade just to keep up. For years, we came up short, way short. And part of that goes all the way back to the 2008 crash. Builders got burned so badly they stopped building and never fully caught back up. And part of it is just zoning. A lot of the rules on the books make it hard to build the small entry-level homes, the exact ones a first-time buyer could actually afford. So picture it, a line of people who want homes that gets longer every year, and a stack of keys on the table that is too small. When there are 10 families for every one house, the price is going to go up every time. And that is not greed. It is not the newcomers. It is a shortage. Now, is growth part of it? Of course it is. This valley added well over 100,000 people since 2020. Star became one of the fastest growing towns in America. And here is where I'm going to be straight with the locals. More people means more demand, and that is real. I'm not going to pretend that it's not. But demand only explodes the price like this when there is nothing to buy. If we had built enough homes, all those new neighbors would have had somewhere to go. The people showed up, the houses did not. And migration is the gasoline, the building shortage is the match. And you cannot out-argue a spreadsheet. Okay, remember that family I told you about, the one that lost 3 straight bidding wars to a fund? Well, let me show you who kept beating them. Our local news outlet, Boise Dev, went digging through the property records here, and they found something that is worth knowing. A single Wall Street-backed rental company quietly owns hundreds of single-family homes across this valley, and companies like that go straight for the cheap starter homes, the exact inventory a first-time buyer is fighting for. So let me give you something most agents will not tell you. When you lose a house to an all-cash offer, no inspection, closing in a week, a lot of the time that is not a family, that is a fund. And when you are bidding against somebody who does not even care what the interest rate is, you lose. But now let me be fair, because this is where people can get it wrong. That Wall Street money is real, but it is not the whole story. If we zoom out to every rental in this valley, and most of them are not owned by a fund at all. They are owned by your neighbor, the one who kept their first house as a rental when they moved up. One house and then maybe 2. So yes, big money is a real piece of the stack, but it is just a piece, not the whole thing. Let's add it all up. A decade of underbuilding, wages that never kept pace, materials, labor, and land through the roof, money itself got expensive And the cost of simply living went up on every single line. Real growth on top of all of it. And yes, some big money in the mix. Now, I know some of you are still thinking, if they hadn't come, we wouldn't need the houses. And you're not wrong. That growth did add pressure. So I'm not going to stand here and tell you that it did not. But growth only breaks a market that has not built to hold it. The family unpacking a U-Haul did not write the zoning code, and they did not set the price of lumber. They did not raise your interest rate. So blaming them feels good for about a day, but it fixes nothing. Here is my advice, and it is the same for both of you. Blame is super easy, and it has never put anybody in a house. The families winning in this market right now are not the ones arguing in the comments about who ruined Boise. They are the ones who understood this math early and made a move. So be that family. Let me give you something you can actually use, because understanding the why is nice, doing something about it is better. Move 1. Stop qualifying for the mortgage and start qualifying for the true monthly cost. The loan payment plus the taxes plus the insurance plus the power bill, all of it on one line. That is the number that actually hits your bank account. And it is the one most people never run until they are already in too deep. Now, move 2. Widen the map. The funds are fighting over the cheapest starter homes. So stop standing in that exact line. If your budget cannot win in Ada County, Canyon County just to the west stretches that same dollar by roughly 100,000. For a lot of buyers, the trade-off is a little more drive for a lot less house payment. And move 3, use the market everyone is scared of. Back when money was practically free, buyers were waiving inspections, throwing cash over, asking just to lose anyway. This video gave you the why and 3 moves to start with, but knowing the moves and knowing which one fits your situation, those are 2 different things. Maybe you grew up here and you are losing a bidding war after bidding war in your own hometown. Or maybe you are a local family wondering if moving out to Canyon County is the smart play or a mistake. Maybe you are moving here from 1,000 miles away and you do not want to overpay for the wrong neighborhood. Every one of those is a conversation, not a comment section. So book a free strategy call with me. The link is in the description. And grab the relocation audit while you're down there as well. I'm the one who will sit down, will pull the real numbers for your price range and tell you the truth about what your dollar actually buys. Let me stop being a realtor for 1 minute and just be your neighbor. To the folks who have been here a long time, I absolutely see you. I grew up here too, and I know what it feels like to watch the field you learn to drive in become another subdivision. You are allowed to be frustrated. However, don't only aim it at the family unpacking a U-Haul down the street. 9 times out of 10, they are not here to change Idaho. They fell in love with the same Idaho you did. And to everybody who just got here, this part is for you. You have found something truly special. The stuff that made you pack up and drive 1,000 miles to get here, protect it. Learn the back roads. Pull over for the tractor instead of leaning on the horn. And please treat these rivers and trails like they are yours, because now they are. Leave this place better than you found it. That is the only thing any of us is asking.